Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you are in the world. I hope this finds you well. Caspa has been on a bit of a rally the last few days, and it's not something that was unexpected exactly. We've been at prices that have been historically undervalued on Caspa. Right here, I've pulled up a few things, so let's take a look. I also have some other charts that we'll go into later on. So first things first, let's look at this chart. We have the Caspa risk metric pulled up, and we can see that every time Caspa was oversold, we essentially put in a high time frame bottom. In other words, it was the best level to buy Caspa if you were swing trading it on a high time frame. Price never came back down to these levels once the risk metric put in this bottom. So we currently have another example of the risk metric putting in a bottom, a very steep bottom. And additionally, because we like to look for a confluence to kind of increase our conviction and our context for knowing when to DCA or dollar cost average into the market, we can put all these things together to kind of find the lowest risk where we can find entries that are less risky. So on the lowest band of this rainbow chart, which I also have pulled up, and this is using the full price history of Caspa. Obviously, the Bitcoin chart is known for following the rainbow chart, and Caspa, Bitcoin has much longer time. It's been trading for a much longer time, so the data is over a much longer time. Caspa has been trading for a shorter time, but nonetheless, this rainbow chart is using the data that is available. We can see that price has gotten down to the lowest band, the green band on the rainbow chart, which we also just reached again. Additionally, Caspa has been dipping below the 20 and 21 week SMA and EMA, and this has happened a few times before, and each time buyers came in and it offered one of the best price points you could get. So after the steep corrections, after reaching the highest band of the rainbow chart. So we just dipped below. If we zoom in, we can see how price has responded. We have essentially come down and pinpoint nailed the green band on the rainbow chart, and price has popped back up, it's come back down, and it is now currently in between the 20 week and the 21 week. If we come back and look at the timing of all of this, I think a lot of people have been impatient with the Caspa price action moving sideways. I see it personally as an accumulation phase, and it isn't out of the ordinary for how long it's been taking. We have one example, one data point here, not a ton of data points, but we have done this before. So really, it shouldn't be much of a surprise. It isn't actually something that hasn't happened before. We essentially, as you can see on the 5-cent peak, we went sideways for 216 days thereabouts before price eventually broke out. And we aren't even there yet. We are only around the 150-day mark or so. And last time Caspa went about 150 days before it put in this bottom, and then it only went essentially higher. So we put a bottom in, again, coincidentally, around the 146-day mark, and on this last accumulation phase at 5 cents, 4 cents, and 5 cents, it was around 149 days. So you can see the similarities there. Things don't always repeat exactly, but sometimes they rhyme. And additionally, on the RSI divergence indicator, anytime we dipped into oversold and then on the 3-day chart, the indicator flipped green, it generally led to a big rally. So sometimes it flips green, it turns red, it flips green, it turns red. It does a lot of back and forth, but price continues up. Important thing to look at is that it dips into oversold and then it flips green. So right here, we dipped into oversold, historically oversold levels, and then it flips green, it's flipped red, it's flipping green. So it does seem to be finding a bit of a bottom here, and it could be indicating that price is about to move up. So taking that into context with the confluence of the timing shown here, the as well as the observation that Caspa has dipped below the 20 and 21 week moving averages, in context with the price reaching the lowest green band of the rainbow chart, all are leading me to believe that we could be putting in a bottom here. So I think that the future for Caspa is potentially building up to another big rally. And if we look at, we could look at some of the potential price targets to the upside. Of course, this is just a speculation of mine. It's not something that necessarily has to play out, but I use the history to inform my predictions. And a move to the 4.236 level on the Fibonacci indicator tool. Actually, it's a tool. It's not really an indicator. I guess it is an indication of what could happen, but it's on the toolbar of TradingView. Anyway, it would be close now, almost close to 47 cents, 50 cents. I think psychologically 50 cents is probably more likely if it does indeed get up to that. And you can see historically that Caspa has reached these levels. So it takes a little time. Sometimes right here, it took a couple phases to get up there. If you put it right here, we can see that it went above the 4.236. So we did get above the 4.236 here. We actually overshot it. I thought price would come to 3 cents. Psychologically, 3 cents seemed like a good level, but it actually overshot it and it went to 4.1 cents or so. If we come and we put it on this peak, we can see once again that it did in fact reach the 4.236, which was my long-held target, if you have been following me for a long time on Twitter, of 14 cents. So when price came down here and it looked like it was putting in a bottom, I said 14 cents sounds good. Sounds good to me, 14 cents. Just as right here, if this is a bottom and we don't know yet. We will find out eventually if this is a bottom. 50 cents sounds good to me. The market cap, of course, I think a lot of people will listen to this and say, well, hey, the market cap is higher now. It takes more money to move it. Hey, Caspa is not on Coinbase. It's not on Binance. Fair enough. Yeah, it takes more money to move an asset the higher the market cap goes. But at the same time, price to a large extent is a function of the order books. So would the volume be higher if Binance and Coinbase listed it? Sure. And they might list it eventually. It takes time for these things because Caspa is fair launched, and so they need to accumulate the liquidity to handle their the volume that they do. They're some of the top exchanges, so of course they need to have order books that are sufficient to handle the volume that is going to be traded there. And it wouldn't be surprising me if they are in fact accumulating for an eventual listing. So, and Cardano, for example, was listed on Coinbase essentially at the peak of the market. So keep that in mind as well. Bitcoin is still not even really breaking out yet, barely. So it poked above, but it isn't breaking out. So the market cap takes more money to move it. But it just may be why we're seeing a bit of a slow accumulation, and you also have to consider the fundamentals that Caspa is fair launched, proof of work. So the only sell pressure on Caspa is essentially coming from miners and traders. So that's part of the reason why the chart looks so healthy and organic. It isn't like a coin that has VCs pumping it and dumping it, and it's just crazy manipulated. Caspa isn't that. It is it's a completely fair launched project, so it's going to trade much more cleanly. And I think the risk as well is lower than a lot of things that one could choose to invest in. So for me, I'm a spot holder. I do some leverage on a low time frame, but with much smaller percent of my portfolio, like really just money that if I lose it, whatever. As far as my spot holdings, that is really something that I just self custody and I hold long term, and I just, my strategy is to buy the lows and pretty much only hold my spot bag, and the only time I will sell it will be when I see Bitcoin potentially putting in a peak. So I am watching Bitcoin hawkishly because I want to know when the cycle is peaking. I did it last time. I sold everything right in here. I missed the second peak, but you know what? Everything went parabolic here, and things didn't really get much of a pump on the second peak. And I sold everything right here as things kind of did that second big pump, and watched Bitcoin just boop, and it just went down. And you can see all of my my calls on Bitcoin over the last bull market on my pinned tweet on Twitter. You can find me on there, cryptographer with a UR at the end, and kind of get an idea of my personal strategy, which has worked out well. I just get into the market in the bear market lows and sell the peak. So really, before I think about selling Caspa, that's my big trade this cycle, I'm going to be looking for a peak on Bitcoin. And I don't know if it's going to be in 2024 or 2025. I don't think it really even matters. Everyone wants to try to predict the timing. You know what I say? I say, I don't know. I don't know when it's going to be, but I know that when it comes in, it's going to be more obvious than trying to say it's going to be a certain time, So I fundamentally believe that Bitcoin will break out to new highs and put in much higher highs eventually. And if the worst happened, and this is a triple peak here, and the timing It got delayed because Bitcoin, for example, maybe comes down to the 20 and 21 week SMA and EMA, and retest this before moving higher. Then, hey, it is what it is. Timing is going to be extended. But I think that Bitcoin can get to much higher valuations. And when that happens, Caspa, which I have high conviction in, I believe fundamentally that it's one of the best projects and that it's worthy of the top 10. And the reason why I believe that is because it is not just something that was spun up recently. Yes, the network is young. It was launched in 2021, November 2021. But the actual technology has been in the making for 10 plus years by Jonathan Sampolinsky and Aviv Sohar, who are even retweeted by the official Bitcoin Twitter account in 2014. That's 10 years ago. Ethereum, Vitalik Buterin, the creator of Ethereum, used the technology created by Jonathan Sampolinsky and Aviv Zohar in Ethereum, right? Then the creator of Cardano, which has been a top 10 project for a while, it's teetering on the edge now, probably because, who knows, maybe it's obsolete by now. But Charles Hoskinson, the creator of Cardano, essentially was inspired by Jonathan's work as well. So XRP uses Jonathan Sampolinsky's work, in the XRP white paper mentions it, among countless projects in the top 50, also, in top 100. So I knew way back that Caspa was going to do well. I invested early, and I have no reason personally to sell it anytime soon, because I think that it is a top 10 coin. And this prediction, by the way, is just a near-term target. So I think that it's going to continue to trend up, and I think that more so, when we see the height of the bull market, it could be as high as 5. It could also be as high as, $1 on a more conservative side. So how does it get there? I mean, it could do something, it could continue to go. Well, actually, let's go back to this chart as we make these dubious predictions here. Let's go back to this chart. So we have because we have this timing here. We have this potential 50-cent target next, and if we do get to $1, what could that look like? So we have the 50-cent level. We have a 5-cent level. Of course, this is all just fun and speculation, right? This is not at all something that I recommend anyone taking to the bank or anything. And I don't recommend over-investing, and really, putting money into the market should be money that, you can lose. You're not going to need in your normal everyday life. So these are just my opinions and just some speculative theorizing here. But price could potentially do something, say like this. Let's see, here we go. So, maybe we go sideways for a while, right? We don't really have to pump straight up, because we essentially have, right? Because if we do this similar timing as we did right here, 216 days is right here. It could continue into the summer, right? And then maybe, maybe price then has a bit of a pullback and finds support, at 20 cents or something. And then, has a bit of an accumulation phase, and then we come back up and into the end of the year, right? Now we're in December of 2024. So obviously that looks a little messy, but we're looking at the 50-cent level. Then we're looking maybe it pulls back, and maybe it doesn't, because maybe at that point Bitcoin is putting in a peak, maybe even this summer. So we're going to look at all those factors. We're going to just continue to watch all this and see how it plays out. But I personally believe Caspa can reach 50 cents. I think it can reach $1. I think eventually it could probably reach $5. I don't know if it's going to do that this cycle. I think more likely 50 cents and $1 is pretty conservative. And then somewhere between $1 and $5 is possible. I think it's possible because as Bitcoin trends up, there's just a lot more capital that gets rotated into other investments in the cryptoverse, and it'll go from Bitcoin to Ethereum to large caps to mid caps to small caps and all that. And the strongest coins are gonna really reap the most benefit. And I think Kaspa is very much one of these coins that are capable of really getting into the top 10, potentially putting it into above $1 price points. And so I generally will just buy the lows. I look for the extreme oversold levels to get into the market. And then I plan on, when Bitcoin is breaking out and I think it's putting in a peak, I think I'll probably start scaling out and kind of sit on my hands for the next bear market and get into the market again. And that's my strategy. That's what I do. So I hope that helps. And really, the lowest risk way to go about investing in crypto, in my opinion, is to be patient, is to not overinvest. Just get into the market when everybody is calling for lower, when things are really oversold, and you see important moving averages getting hit. And that's when you want to get in. So, predicting the 15,500 bottom, which I did, you can see on my pinned tweet on Twitter. I did some fancy Fibonacci work to do that. Did that 4 months in advance, and so, I was bullish. I was bullish when that level was getting hit, and Bitcoin was under the 200-week moving average, and this one also was interesting because I saw it here, so I was buying here. Right, you can see that it hit here, it held it, and then it fell. And this was new. The only way to have seen this coming was using Fibonacci. I was able to find that. So, see my pinned tweet if you want to see that in action. And of course, I have a Discord server, the Ski Bum Trading Discord server, that is accessible via the link in my Patreon if you're interested in joining that and hanging out in there and learning about technical analysis and getting my thoughts and feedback on real-time price action. The Patreon is month to month, and it can be canceled anytime. The Black Diamond tier includes the technical analysis talk, and it'll also include my anytime I buy or anytime I sell. So I'm in there every day. We have fun. We talk about the markets and share our feedback, our perspectives on what's going on. And so if you're interested in joining that, the Discord link is available via the Patreon. And it does look like Caspa is currently trying to hold this 20-week moving average. We can come back and kind of see how price has interacted with it in the past. It kind of came down here, dipped below, got above, came below again, and now it's above. So if we go back and we look at other times when Caspa has gone below and above. We can see that, for example, right here, it dipped down, came above, dipped down, popped back up, held it as support. So when it starts testing it and holding it as support, it gives people conviction to enter. And I think that some people might be waiting for more conviction, more confirmation, so to speak, to enter. So when price starts testing it, they may develop more conviction that price is going to hold and continue higher, and that's when some people may enter, and that could really fuel the next rally. Right now, people are wondering if this is going to hold and if it's going to continue higher. So the risk takers who are willing to buy the extremely oversold levels get the better price. The ones who, need a little more confirmation like this, where price is testing, coming up here, hitting, maybe it comes up, tests again, and then it heads up. People are waiting for that confirmation, pay a higher price generally in the end. So I'm more keen on things that are leading like this, and you take the risk if you believe in the asset, if you have conviction in the fundamentals over time, and you think it's going to perform well in the future. I prefer it that way. I get into the market when it's extremely oversold and just add to my bag. And like I said, when Bitcoin I see Bitcoin potentially putting in a peak. That's when I'm more interested in exiting the market. And Kaspa may or may not have as steep of a pullback of some things because it's fair launched. We'll see. It's still a young asset, trading for less time than Bitcoin, for example. So we'll see what happens. But it may not have as bad of a correction as some things that have VCs with large swaths of tokens vesting over time that they can just dump on the market as they unlock. Caspa just doesn't have that, and the rewards are reducing every month. The emissions are on a much faster schedule than the 4-year Bitcoin having, where Caspa, they just decrease every month, and you probably know that if you're here, but if not, this, I'll mention it for the people who are new to Caspa, who might be just finding this. So Caspa, very fundamentally strong. I believe in much higher valuations, and I'm gonna be there for it. I think I'm gonna wait for Bitcoin to be putting in highs, and then I'm gonna start considering where's Caspa at that point in time, and see if it makes sense for me to begin scaling out. But so far, I'm still holding all the coins that I've bought, and I've bought pretty much all of these oversold levels. So I'm feeling bullish on Caspa, and I'm hoping that this level can hold and we can see some higher prices, potentially 50 cents and higher. 50 cents would be like maybe the next swing. And then once Bitcoin is putting in the peak, potentially as high as $1 or up to maybe $5. We'll see how it goes. If you like the content, feel free to like and subscribe, and I will catch you on the next one. Be well.